My name is Mike Doane, and we're talking about Chuck Stevens Chevrolet.
Where is the store located?
We're located in Bay Minette, Alabama.
And you're a franchise dealership selling Chevrolets. Roughly how many cars a month are you guys selling?
Out of the store last month, 70 cars.
And how big is the team between sales and BDC?
I have one dedicated BDC, and I have 6 sales people, I believe. Yes, 6.
And what are some of the challenges you faced with lead follow-up prior to TECOBI?
Following up, the demoralizing phone calls, actually trying to sell a car at the same time you're trying to follow up.
Yeah, just follow up in general. And what made you decide to give TECOBI a shot?
Basically, it was the owner of TECOBI. After a discussion and the fact that, he just purchasing a dealership, understanding what truly happens in the process of a dealership resonated.
So yeah, I did purchase a dealership or bought into a dealership about 3 years ago. So it's really transformed my view of both sides of the desk. I'm able to, take my vendor side knowledge and now my retail side knowledge and combine those two things together. And, TECOBI's progressed a lot over the past 8 years as we've grown. We weren't even a technology company to start. We were a Facebook marketing company, and the addition of the artificial intelligence just kind of took it to the next level and solved a lot of problems. Have you used any other follow-up tools like TECOBI?
Yeah, Sim Social. And actually, it's funny, they just called me the other day begging for us to come back. And, I had one store with Sim Social, one store with TECOBI, and back about 3 years ago, and we kicked both of them to the curb. Yeah, they both were pretty much Facebook ad campaigns, and it would bring in people. There's only 2 folks I can't sell to, Inger and Pavish, and I hit both of them every time. And so it just, it was a lot of work for no result. And I mean, the other day, I got on a salesperson for not following up in TECOBI, and he went in there and the first thing he hit was on an 800 beacon customer through TECOBI. And I mean, so we're seeing more than just, what you would normally see in these campaigns. I mean, a customer came in, purchased a vehicle. And the cool thing was, it was, the customer was handed to them. It wasn't, in the traditional lead where you're hoping they answer the phone, you're hoping they'll text you, you're hoping all this. These are actually customers that have replied back to you and want to buy a car.
Yeah, so the challenge with those Facebook campaigns is that they're typically catching people much higher funnel. The nature of the car business is we're really good at the short game, but we're not the best at the long game.
True.
And the first iteration of TECOBI did rely too much on humans to do a lot of repetitive behavior like a CRM. And then once we added the AI into it, it allowed the system to do the follow-up so that when a lead came in off of Facebook or Instagram, it would get followed up with for 6, 12, 24 months until that customer was ready to buy. So the bigger the pipeline gets with those, social campaigns, the more they start to produce. And it's nice to see that you guys are starting to get some results off of it. How would you compare your experience with Sim Social to your experience with TECOBI?
Honestly, back when we were using both of them, when everything was human-based and, phone ninjas and all that, they were pretty identical. Today with TECOBI, it's completely different. One thing I'll say about TECOBI, if you're looking for, TECOBI did instantly change some for us, but it's a long-term game. I was told by you guys that give it 90 days. And truthfully, 90 to 120 days, I mean, we were selling 1-2 cars a month, and there was question, do we make a mistake? And then all of a sudden, we look at it, we're selling 5-6 cars a month. It did exactly what you told me it would do. Let it build up and let it, and customers aren't instant, especially Facebook campaigns. They may say something and then it may take 90, 20, 120 days for them. But the thing is that we're constantly asking them questions. We're trying to engage with them constantly through AI, and it resonates, and they remember who we are when they do go to, truly go to market.
And what's your favorite thing about using TECOBI?
I love email blasts, but, be prepared to be in front of them.
You mean the text blast?
Yeah, the text blast. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, text blast. If I feel like if the store's like, I need leads, sometimes as a marketing manager, we all know that just doesn't instantaneously happen. But if I want them to be busy and have leads, I'll do a text blast, do 1,000 text blasts. You'll be sitting there for 45 minutes answering customers, and it's the coolest thing ever. It makes you feel like you're trying to, you're doing something.
Yeah, the old way, I mean, I've been in the car business for some time on the vendor side. The old way of trying to get more business was to go spend more money on advertising. And it
Right.
was this constant black hole of, money being dumped into advertising, money being dumped into advertising. So as your pipeline grows into TECOBI and you get more and more leads in there, you could just go push a button and within 5 minutes, you've got tons of customers to talk to. Everyone in the dealership is busy. And it gives, marketing directors like yourself another tool other than just, hey, Mr. Dealer, can I get some more money to spend on advertising? You can, for at no cost, go find a bunch of customers to talk to. So it is like a magic wand you can wave over your leads that really helps you light the place up. Have you noticed any difference in your contact rate or appointment volume since you started using TECOBI?
Yes. Well, for one thing, we're only seeing customers that, because AI, pretty much does everything else. We're only seeing customers that are engaging with us. So appointment rates are, of course, naturally the feel of it. You're getting more appointments. Appointments are still appointments. I mean, still 50% show. But the nice thing about TECOBI is they don't show. TECOBI just goes right back in and just starts working with the customer again. I think the coolest thing about TECOBI is that it never loses a customer unless the customer chooses to be lost. Two things: it never loses a customer, and you never have to leave TECOBI to answer a customer. Everything you need is right there, in the menu system, and the learning curve was easy. I mean, you just, click. It'll even tell you what you should say if you get stuck. And I mean, I think those are the things that, for somebody who is just entering into this business, those are great tools. They sometimes don't answer customers because they don't know what to say to a customer. And TECOBI will even help you answer the customer. What you should properly say to them that'll get them to, at least there'll be some sort of engagement question in every question in TECOBI.
I always say we've over CRM'd ourselves. I feel like a traditional CRM for a new person coming into the car business, you almost have to have a rocket science degree, be able to know what to do when you go into it, versus TECOBI. You can spend an hour with someone and they're really up to speed because it's very modern. It's very simple. Everything you need is in one place. Speaking of that, the hardest part about bringing new systems into a car dealership is obviously getting your sales and BDC people to adapt to it. Decision makers every day are making decisions on purchasing new software, and then they bring it to their team and then it just kind of falls flat. What would you say about the adaptation of sales and BDC to the system, and what experiences do you have with that?
100% correct. When we say, hey, here's a new product, go do it, you never know where it's going to end up. But what I like about TECOBI was, when I have a new salesperson, I get a hold of my performance manager and say, hey, this person needs to be trained. And the next thing I know, I see this person start just engaging. I know how to use TECOBI, but I'm not a trainer in TECOBI. And having that tool, having that resource to where, hey, I got a new employee, set them up. And next thing I know, they're just off and running. And then they also have an avenue of somebody they can ask. I mean, you can ask right inside of TECOBI. You can contact your trainer directly through TECOBI if you get stuck. So I think, 50% of the problem in our business is that people get stuck and they just don't answer. And that's CRMs are famous for that. I mean, I'm the guy that wrote most of the templates in our CRMs. I'll be the first one to tell you they all suck. Right. Templates suck, but I mean, I have those who just won't, that's a minimal amount they'll do. And the cool thing about TECOBI is it's smart enough not to, sure, it's templates, but it's using but it changes them as it needs it. And, the coolest thing I've seen in TECOBI, a customer says, hey, I don't feel good. 2 weeks later, TECOBI's coming back asking, how are you feeling? And that's just never happening in a CRM. Now, it may happen with a good salesperson, but, we all know how many are actually remembering that or putting those notes in the CRM. There's a lot of note taking in the CRM if you want to be that efficient, what TECOBI will do.
There's always one or two good salespeople, but we all know that you can't build a business off of just the good salespeople. There's a lot of people out there that just won't take the time to read the previous conversation, and they'll send the template and not address the concerns that the customers had. That's one thing you can rely on with the AI, is it's always going to know the situation and it's always going to use that situation to its advantage. What would you tell another dealer that's possibly considering TECOBI?
I mean, to be strictly honest, that you have to give it 90 to 120 days.
Right.
That's when your results are going to start to happen. You have to have people that are engaged in it. It's the easiest thing that I've ever seen to be engaged with when it comes to dealership tools. You're not spinning, you can work it off your phone, you can work it off your desktop, you can work it anywhere. And you're not typing a bunch of stuff. You're just, basically following up with the customers that want to be followed up with. And the other cool part is that everything you need is right there in that dashboard. Customer asks about a piece of inventory, you can just move it right into your text thread. You don't have to go anywhere else to get, it's all in one spot. And I think for salespeople, that's everything they're asking for. Here's the thing. TECOBI's truly not last point of acquisition. And all a CRM can give you that. Maybe a duplicate lead, but it's always constantly living. And it's, evolving to what the customer's telling you. And there's very little you have to do to allow TECOBI to do that for you.
Yeah, I always use the analogy that the CRM has really one job that we want it to do, and that's to deliver customers that want to talk to us about buying a car today. All the features and everything we've added to it and all the babysitting tools and the reports are all to simply generate a customer that wants to talk to me today about purchasing a car. We've just relied too heavily on humans to do that job inside of a CRM. And TECOBI kind of removes that human element so that your humans can spend their day actually talking to people who want to buy a car today, as opposed to doing all the lead work that it would take to find those people. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your experience with TECOBI, maybe about the team or anything in general that you'd like to share?
The team's phenomenal. I work with a lot of vendors, and they can be, vendors can be really frustrating on a dealership level. And after you and I, talked when we originally re-signed up, it has been nothing but easy. I will say that if TECOBI is anything, it's easy to use. And I very rarely have, that frustration level that I have with, we won't mention any names, but, I'm not on the phone, for an hour trying to figure out if something's wrong. Usually it's like, oh yeah, we see, we'll fix, and I don't expect everything to be 100% of the time. But when we do catch something, it's so quick and everything is going in the right direction again. And honestly, I may jump into TECOBI once a day and just kind of see where we're at. And sometimes, I have to, bring it, hey, we have too many, let's respond to these text messages. But while I'm doing that, they're all down there selling cars,
right?
So it's working, The only time I have to speak up is when every one of those salespeople have a customer in front of them. I would say a good amount of it's because of TECOBI. Everybody in the store loves it. But in the beginning, it wasn't that way. You just got to, I don't know how, being straight up honest, it's going to take a little bit of time for TECOBI to pick up all its customers, and then after a while, it's just, you're wondering, okay, what's the next step? What do I do next with it? How can I make it even better? And that's what we're, kind of looking at right now is, do we want to do more, blasts? Do we want to do this, And the cool thing about blasts is that, text message blasts is that if something changes in the market, we go to employee pricing. It's instant. We can just tag every new car customer and just send them out a message and just, sit back and start typing away responses to them.
Yeah. The way we used to do that, because I'm a little old school, is direct mail. We would, I've sold a lot of direct mail in my day, which has become astronomically expensive.
Yep.
And it takes days to actually get the message to the customer. So text message is kind of like the modern direct mail that has an instant result, and it is a fraction of the cost. So text blasting is definitely a great way to get messages in front of people. And as far as, the team, we take a lot of pride in the way we service our dealers. At the beginning of 2024, I made a strategic decision to really ramp down my sales team and ramp up my service teams. So we've decided that, it's more important to service our clients, and through videos like this, we'll be able to find new clients, and I don't need to focus as much of my time and efforts in the sales team. I feel like a lot of the vendors in the car business, they're not really service companies. They're sales organizations that are just there to sell you a product, sell you a feature, sell you an add-on. And when it comes to service, they're investing as minimal effort as possible. And that's why we get some of the challenges that dealers face with other vendors in the car business. So we hope to be the change, and we hope to change the way the car business operates and services dealerships. Really appreciate the time today, Mike. We really appreciate the business, brother. I know we've tried this a couple times. I'm glad to hear that it's working this time. I'm glad to hear that you guys are going to be a customer for quite some time.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Have a great day. Sell some cars.